God always calls the David when Saul is still alive. God always calls the David when Saul is still alive. Oh, I hope you get this. You weren't called to Saul's house to imitate Saul. You were called to Saul's house to be crucified. So there wouldn't be any Saul left in you. God always calls the Davids or the next move while the old move is still alive. And that old move always crucifies or tries to crucify you. God always, look, God calls you. He calls David's when Sauls are still alive around you. But when they crucify you, God resurrects you. See, Saul tried to crucify David. The Pharisees crucified Christ, right? Every single person, when you become who Christ has called you to be, you'll begin to see the manifestation of hate against you. But this is why, I got to tell you something. This is why the Bible called Moses the most humble person in the world, is because when he rose to set the captives free, when he rose to set his own people free, look, our own people hate us the worst because we have the way for them to go in, but it's different than what they're used to. And because it's a new mindset, they now have vilified you as the enemy. And so when you begin to take your people or try to say, let my people go to Pharaoh, Pharaoh doesn't automatically let your people go. You have to outlast Pharaoh. I promise you, this is a word for someone. You have to outlast the haters, outlast your family, outlast those who are religious until you break Pharaoh's back, until you break the devil's back, until you break the strongholds over your people. And that process of letting, man, I feel the Lord, letting God's people go makes you the most humble person in the world. Some people I don't even think it's promotion. Like, I know that's crazy to think this, but anytime I'm speaking somewhere, anytime I'm ministering with Rig Nation, with Apostle Tommy, I don't actually think I'm in promotion. I'm not. I'm speaking the same thing I've been speaking for 13 years. It's just now there's people that are listening. Now there's people who are hungry. I've kind of like, you've broken the code. There's a process of crucifixion that comes against you when you have the David spirit, when you have the revelation, when moves of God are upon you. I promise you, there is an all saints movement or mantle upon me. There's an every believer movement upon me. Why? This is the end time movement. This is the revival. This is why, I don't know if you know this, for those who are in Rig Global, this is why Rig Global goes so long. This is why we have 3.5, 4 hour services. It's not because we just like worship. It's not because we're long-winded. It's not because we have like just flown in the gifts. It's because we're literally awakening I believe prophetically, I'm going to say this, we're standing in the gap, Ezekiel 22:30, on the whole body of Christ. We're awakening the army of the body of Christ. This is the largest revival I believe that's ever happened, is awakening the army of Christ. There's over 644 million spirit-filled believers statistically around the world. We have the largest army. And it is my job and our job to hit go and to awaken, equip, and then send those. Awaken them with a clarion call to action. Awaken them with a call that says it's not time to sit by. It's not time to think that Christ is coming back tomorrow.